It's Thursday and we have a great show today. You are not going to believe all the stuff coming out from the set photos of Wonder Woman 2. Steve Trevor is apparently in the movie. What the hell is that about? We're going to break down everything we know about the film, including what we glean from those photos. There was also huge Avengers 4 news. A popular fan theory and rumor was more or less confirmed because there was footage, including an entire scene screened in Europe of Avengers 4. We're going to break that down, talk about all of the different aspects of that story. This is the Nerdy News Rundown, your daily dose for nerdy news. Let's get you filled in. What's up, everybody? I hope you are having a good day. I am, of course, your host, Josh, and man, this one is gonna be a good episode. Hey, just so everybody knows, we're actually getting Nerdy News Rundown mugs made. That's gonna be pretty cool. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon. Okay, let's get right into this news. This is craziness. Wonder Woman 2, or what is being called Wonder Woman 1984, just released some photos from their set yesterday. Now, there were both official set photos released and set photos just grabbed by paparazzi because they were shooting outside, so there's a lot of different stuff to talk about. The official photos themselves are very interesting. You have Wonder Woman looking at a screen or a bunch of screens. It has a very like Orwellian feel to it, which I think really lends itself to the 1984 title, and we'll get into what I think that all means in just a second. But then, of course, there is this shot that broke the internet. This is Steve Trevor. Steve Trevor in a tracksuit in a mall with Diana in 1984. All sorts of questions about this photo and what Steve Trevor could be doing in the film. We're going to get into all of that in just a second, but I want to talk about some of the photos that other people grabbed from the set as well. You have Diana in like a modern day garb, very kind of professional, business casual like, and then you get Steve Trevor and her walking around the streets of London. This is very cool stuff. I think it's going to get people pretty excited for the film. Now, in general, Wonder Woman is one of the only things going on over at DC that fans and critics and pretty much everybody out there is really into. So, of course, getting Patty Jenkins back for Wonder Woman 2, going crazy with this cheetah stuff, with the 1984 title. I mean, all of this feels very right, and these set photos look awesome. They just get people really, really excited for the film. Now, breaking down some information that people are talking about with the movie, the 1984 title probably has a lot to do with the Orwellian novel 1984, talking about totalitarian government, just this increased nationalism almost to an unhealthy degree. And you can see how that sort of politicking would play to the state of affairs of politics in the real world. Now, I'm kind of hoping that it's not super heavy-handed, and I also kind of hope that it's not just straight leftist politics, that it's sort of just talking about just the nature of governments, the nature of corruption, and the nature of people. That'll be really, really cool. And not just because that's my own personal taste, but I kind of feel like media is going this way where if you try to push a certain political view too much, it can irritate a lot of people. And so even though I think that the politics of 1984, which was the year that, of course, the United States recognized the AIDS epidemic for what it actually was. It was a big year in gay rights. All of those things I think are super important. I just hope that they're handled tactfully and not with a heavy hand in the film. Overall, I'm really excited for the movie. Loved Wonder Woman 2, so I am pretty hyped on seeing these photos. And when it comes to Steve Trevor, I'm super excited that he's back. I know there's a lot of people that are probably feeling like, man, if Steve Trevor's just back, it takes away from his death in the first movie. You know, what the heck? There's no emotional resonance there. Doesn't even matter anymore. Well, let's get into this a little bit. Let's talk about the Steve Trevor of it all. So right away, my head goes to resurrection. I think when you're talking about the gods and just mysticism in general, it's just a natural extension of that to have him resurrected. Also, part of me thinks this could be something to do with the God of War. I mean, if Ares and Steve Trevor both died in the same event, perhaps like undoing that event so that Ares can come back would somehow undo the event itself, making Steve come back. I also kind of have this bad feeling that this is some kind of a trick being pulled on Diana, and perhaps Steve is being resurrected by the villain of the film or one of the villains to try to mess with her later. That'll really, really suck and tear everybody's heart out, but it might be satisfying to see as well. I saw some people online talking about how this could be a descendant of Steve Trevor, maybe even his son or his grandson, and it just happens to look exactly like Steve Trevor. And I would really don't want that to be the case. I would really not like it if that's the direction they went. And number one, it's just kind of weird. Like if they do the romantic tension between them, it's going to feel a little wrong. I mean, that's not the real Steve Trevor. His son, I mean, Diana, what are you just going to date his generations for the rest of the time? That seems kind of messed up. And I also just think it's too bogus, right? It's just too hilariously weird if a descendant of Steve Trevor looks exactly like him. To me, that's quite honestly whack as fuck. So I don't want that to be the case. I'm really leaning towards the resurrection thing. Please don't make it his son. Now, a couple of cool aspects about bringing Steve back is number one, of course, the romantic tension and the relationship between these two. It was pretty much the heart of the first movie. And I know some people didn't like that aspect. They'd rather Diana sort of stand on her own and, you know, she don't need no man kind of a thing. But honestly, look, Patty Jenkins wrote that into the film. Patty Jenkins is a fan of romance and love stories. I think it totally played in the first movie, and I'm excited to see it extended and continued in this film. So that's something I like about it. I also think it's kind of cool, like the fish out of water aspect from the first film was really Diana being the fish out of water and Steve sort of like introducing her to what's going on in the world. And if Steve is truly resurrected and he's been kind of on ice or just, you know, dead for so many different years, now he could be the fish out of water and Diana could acclimate him to the modern, or the modern of 1984, times, traditions, and customs. Pretty cool. I like circular storytelling. I like mirrors in these things, so that would be pretty exciting to me. So that's the story out there. Set photos from Wonder Woman 2 or Wonder Woman 1984. Steve Trevor is back. That's the big headline. So I want to know, what does everybody think about this? Are you excited that Steve's back? Why do you think he's back? How do you think that happened? And just in general, what are your thoughts about Wonder Woman 2 or Wonder Woman 1984? Let me know in the comment section below. Hey, by the way, if you're still watching this video, consider giving it a like. I know it's arbitrary. I never really like videos when I'm online, but it legitimately helps us out. Damn it, YouTube. Why are you so difficult these days? If you'd like the video, it would really help us out. Okay, let's get into the Avengers 4 story. This was making the rounds yesterday. Avengers 4 was screened at a CineEurope, which is almost like a CinemaCon version in Europe. This was apparently in Spain. They screened some footage from a bunch of different Disney films. This included Ant-Man and the Wasp. This included Avengers 4 and Captain Marvel. The main thing to come out of this was that there was a scene between Scott Lang and Tony Stark. That's right. Ant-Man and Iron Man had a scene, and in this scene, Ant-Man explains to Tony Stark that they have technology that will allow them to traverse between different realities in order to get Infinity Stones. You didn't hear me wrong. They're traversing different realities in order to get the Infinity Stones. Now, what's super cool about this is it falls right in a line with a lot of theories and speculation that was already out there on like Reddit and 4chan and different sites like that. We know that there were set photos leaked all the way in last year in which all of the Avengers appeared to be in that same Battle of New York setting from the first Avengers film. A lot of people talked about this. This was time travel. Time travel is apparently going to be a big thing in Avengers 4. That was the theory out there. And then, according to the leaks, it was mentioned that due to technology from Ant-Man and basically Pym particles, they were going to be able to go into the quantum realm and traverse not only different realities, but different time periods within different realities. And according to the leaks, this is also that Tony Stark can help formulate his own gauntlet in order to have a fighting chance against Thanos. Somebody within the Avengers is going to wield this new gauntlet. They're going to grab gems from different places within reality, and then they're going to fight Thanos. I know, it sounds absolutely ridiculous, but honestly, totally badass. I mean, yeah, I want to see the Avengers get their own gauntlet. This has to do probably with Doctor Strange's plan. He knew this was going to be going down. He foresaw that Ant-Man was going to be able to help Tony Stark to go throughout these different realities and gather the gems. Tony is, of course, integral to this whole plan because we think he is going to use the barf technology from Captain America Civil War, combine that with the technology that the Pyms have, and then that is going to be how they go to these different realities and gather the gems. Woo! Ooh, that's gonna be badass. This also corresponds with a lot of quotes that different actors from Avengers 4 are talking about. Evangeline Lilly, who plays the Wasp in Avengers 4, was talking about how it reminded her a lot of Lost Season 4, which of course has different realities, hanging out with different characters, seeing different past, and basically affecting timelines. You have Chris Hemsworth saying that if you thought it was crazy in Avengers 3, wait till you see Avengers 4. It's gonna blow Infinity War out of the water. You had Jeremy Renner saying pretty much the same thing. Avengers 4 is going to blow everyone's mind. And so yes, it appears that this popular theory that Ant-Man combining the PIM technology with Tony Stark's barf technology and going through different realities to get Infinity Stones will be a major plot point in Avengers 4. I mean, this is going to be hype as hell, man. The Avengers are getting their own gauntlet to face off against Thanos. Like, what? Now, beyond the story, you know, the scene itself, breaking all of that down and kind of confirming the rumors and the speculation, I just want to talk about how good this is, how smart this is for the MCU. Of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out next month, and as though a lot of people weren't going to see it already, the MCU does this awesome thing where these standalone movies, which have their own tone, their own stakes, and their own story, also tie into this bigger world. It's so interesting to me that now the world is going to know that Ant-Man and the Wasp and the technology that they have combined with what Tony Stark is doing is a major part of Avengers 4. So if you want to know what's at play here and you want to be informed for Avengers 4, you have to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I mean, it's something we say all the time here on the channel and on this show, but Kevin Feige is a genius. Everything that they are doing over there at the MCU is an absolute genius. As I said before, if Kathy Kennedy is to actually step down, Feige is the man to take over for that job. And I almost wanted to kind of like talk about that more because there were some people, you know, fighting back against that point, saying that Kevin Feige would not be good for that job. Dude, I'm telling you, he would absolutely crush it. And even if he doesn't, I'm excited to see what he does with the MCU moving forward. So that's the big story out there. What do you guys think about this? Going through different realities to get Infinity Stones for the Avengers sounds hype as hell, but I want to know what you think about it. And also just what are your thoughts about the MCU? Let's just kind of gush about how dope everything is over there and nerd out, because it's all about that, having fun, doing nerdy things. You can click below to watch more dope videos. You can click our icon to subscribe to get all of our future content. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and nerdy day, and I'll see you giving you the news tomorrow.